Mr. Honoré Lewis, Mr. Meyer, Mrs. Barra, Mrs. Fletcher Mickens, Mr. Robinson, Mr. Washington, Mr. Beck, Mrs. Arso, Mrs. Dugas. Mr. President, you have a quorum. Just want to remind everybody to turn the mics on. Listen.
Can you hear me now?
All right.
Got it.
Good. Under reports and recognition, received administrative personnel report. It's in the packet for your viewing pleasure. Good. Receive update on the installation of access points.
Mr. Josh, if you don't mind coming up. So part of what we are trying to do is to make sure that we increase our bandwidth as far as internet access in all of our schools and all of our sites. So Mr. Josh, you could speak to that tonight.
Well, as you know, we added 3,000 Chromebooks last school year with the federal funds that were handed down. And in order to accommodate those network-wise, we planned upgrades to our network, our wireless network. So what we did was we did it in phases, and we spoke about this at previous board meetings, where with available funding that we had last school year, we did all the wiring in place. We did all that. That has all been completed. And with the new funding that is becoming available, as well as E-rate discounts, we have over 200 access points on order, which should be in. There's some supply issues, but we're hoping they're in right at the beginning of school. Once they're in, we are ready to install, and they'll be installed at all locations within a week. So we are, and beyond that, I mean, we can't get much better network-wise than that. So everything's going as planned. Like I said, the only thing we're kind of up in the air with is how long they're going to take to get here. But the funding's there, our discounts we got approved for that, so everything's looking up.
Is there any kind of way the company can possibly expedite the shipment or the order, or maybe house the order until we're ready to install?
They are actually the official discount award, per se, has not come down from USAC yet. They are going to honor the discounted price for us and go through the order as normal, because it's really just paperwork and red tape. So we only have to pay our 20% share instead of the full 100, because by the time they come in, and they actually have the quantity, they already placed the order on their end.
Okay.
So we just have to process everything on ours and wait for them to come in.
And one other question before any of the board members respond. Our principals, we had a principal meeting today, and the principals were concerned that during the installation, because we're going to be at the very beginning of the school, a lot of our benchmark testing will be going on. So they wanted to make sure that we schedule everything around the school's benchmark assessing.
That's
we
not
definitely
going to be a problem.
Okay.
We literally have the wire hanging in the middle of the classroom with a plug on it. So you're looking at maximum 10, 15 minutes install time. So
Thank you.
we should be able to be flexible as far as, hitting this classroom, skipping this one, and just going wherever we can that day.
Thank you.
So within a week of them coming in, we should be having one.
Yep, we're gonna start installing as soon as we get them in. There's not gonna be any wait. We shouldn't have to. We shouldn't have to.
So then all our children have Chromebooks available too, in all the classrooms,
Yes,
that's primary on up?
yes. And we do have plans to purchase more this school year.
I know we had them at the end of the year, did we occur any problems with the kids having them, or?
Nothing was reported. We had no physical damage. We didn't have as many that went home as we initially expected, but we didn't have any problems that were reported to Mr. B or my department as far as the process that the schools had for sending them out and getting them back in.
Oh, that's good.
And the technicians are just about done with the maintenance on them for the summer to have them ready to go for the start of the school year.
So Josh, or install, should this happen again, or we have to have virtual, will students be able to use these Chromebooks to pull up at the school and use the internet? Say if we're out of school like this.
Well, we already have multiple exterior access points at all locations. So yes, they will be able to do that.
Do we have any parents turned down for, if their kids were virtual for Chromebooks? Because I got a report that a parent was turned down for 2 of her kids with Chromebooks. That was virtual.
I don't know.
No, all students, I don't know what grade level.
That was Laverdale Primary School.
Grade level. We gave access to all students, so everyone who wanted a laptop or Chromebook can actually receive one. But I definitely would like to look into that
Okay.
just to make sure that
They
they
were
had
virtual the
access.
whole while.
And
Okay.
that is handled at the school level. So that might have not reached us at the district level.
Okay.
And I want to say this, if you elected to start off virtually, like our Strong Start plan, you had to have access to computers at home to begin
Right.
with, before
Right.
you even enrolled in a virtual program.
Right.
Even after you enrolled in a virtual program, we gave access. Once we made access available, anyone in our school district who wanted to receive a laptop, they just have to sign off on the agreement and pay the small fee, and they receive the laptop.
Okay.
Any other questions? Thank you, Josh.
Thanks.
Appreciate it. Under policies and procedures, approve new policy BCAD, teleconference, remote participation in school board meetings. Need a motion?
So, second.
Moved by Mr. Washington, second by Mr. Beck. All in favor?
Aye.
B, approve new policy EFC, business continuity and continuity and technology disaster recovery. Need a motion? So moved by.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Approve revisions to job description domain. Need a motion.
So move.
Moved by Mr. Beck, by Ms. Cooney. All in favor?
Aye.
D, approve revisions to job descriptions.
So move.
So moved by Jack. Second by Ms. Cooney. All in favor?
Aye.
Moving right along. Approve memorandum of understanding and data sharing agreement with Louisiana Attendance Alliance.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Dodd,
Second.
second by Mr. Beck. All in favor?
Aye.
Great. Authorize the superintendent to change location of the school board meeting on July 21st, 2021 to Assumption Parish Community Center. Need a motion?
Question. Why are we doing that?
Remember, we wanted to honor our retirees.
Oh,
Right,
definitely.
right.
So we definitely want to make sure we have enough space for the
Okay.
families and for everyone to attend.
Very
Mr.
good.
Claymore is spearheading that, and he's doing a phenomenal job. So be prepared. I think we're going to have a wonderful night.
Very
That's
good.
good. That's
Yes.
That's the retirees from the school year 2021?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay, good. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Great. I think that was Ms. Dot and Mr. Beck. I'm sorry. Not speaking loud enough. All right, receive information on revisions to staff secretary business services job description.
Good evening, everyone. This form, we realized that we were starting to have some issues with being efficient with purchasing inside of our department. So in other words, as purchasing, we started creating RFPs and things going out, whether it's through Josh's department, Missy's department, Dwayne's department. No matter what department it was, everybody was doing a little bit different. So one of the things we started discussing about being efficient with Mr. Bartholomew and Ms. Anya had to do with kind of rearranging some job duties. So not only did we want to reflect what this position does and take out what she doesn't do and completely correct that, but we also want to redirect it where part of her job kind of was a purchasing agent, but she still is in the same position. So I'm gonna let Anya talk about some of the changes because she made the adjustment inside of the job descriptions. But really, that is the point behind the changes with this job description.
And this was, just to remind the board, this was highlighted during our audit. So we just wanted to make sure that we are in compliance. So everyone is on the same page as it relates to how RFPs goes out and all of the information as far as what goes on that particular document. So we just want to make sure we are in compliance. Ms. Randall?
So, good evening, everyone. Mr. Claymore did give you the gist of what we tried to do. Most of the original job duties were clerical duties. So the meat of the position will pretty much be a purchasing agent. So we are centralizing the purchasing process. However, we're not hiring a new purchasing agent. We're just restructuring the job duties. And with the some of the things that are removed, it has been added to the receptionist job description that you all approved a couple of meetings ago. So because some of the things have been restructured, we're adding more of a centralized purchasing, so where we can have an expert with bid laws, with RFPs, how many quotes we need, some of the construction process that we rely on an outside engineer to do for us, we will be able to handle in-house. So when we are audited, we have those records readily available, and we can serve our instructional staff, our other departments as the expertise when it comes to the purchasing requirements. So that this job description is pretty much being reflective of a purchasing agent. However, it will be the responsibilities of the Business Services Secretary. Any questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Receive information on the revised student code of conduct for the 2021-2022 school year.
Good evening.
Mr. Buggage.
I had the opportunity to meet with assistant principals right at the end of the school year, and we made, I wouldn't say a lot of revisions, but we did add a few things to the current code of conduct. We, of course, made some staff changes where we had to. We also looked at the bullying policy, which is in caps already. We made sure that that was in accordance to what the state is asking us to do, and it was in compliance. We added some virtual verbiage, I guess, in addition to what the virtual discipline committee had already done prior, and you had the opportunity to look at. So really wasn't a lot of changes. You will see in your copy in blue all new information that was added. We will be meeting in a couple of weeks again, and this is not necessarily, I guess, a code of conduct change, but it will affect what, when, I guess, administrators will have to utilize the code of conduct. So we will look at flow charts and discipline flow charts schools have in place, and it's what constitutes minor infractions, major infractions. So we want to make sure that we have interventions in place, strategies in place prior to a student receiving a referral and prior to administrators having to utilize this. So we want to make sure we're looking at a lot of things prior to, you know, writing that student up, suspension, and that sort of thing. So other than that, again, you will see in blue all the changes and additions that were made. They were very minor, like I said. Child nutrition updates, we did update that information. And again, that's basically it. If you have questions once you view, do not hesitate to contact.
Any questions? Thank you, Mr. Buggage.
I want to comment, just to let the board know, I've also tasked Mr. Buggage, our parents communicated to us through various focus groups and throughout the process of creating our strategic plan, that they are concerned with the way students are interacting with each other on campus, such as bullying. So I tasked Mr. Buggage with making sure that we place in our strategic plan a clear plan of how we're going to address bullying on our campuses. So this is a step in that direction, that we want to make sure that all of our assistant principals and principals who are handling discipline follow the proper protocols to make sure that our parents are aware and our students are aware. So we're trying to turn the corner and make sure that everyone is treated fairly and let everyone know that Assumption cares. So I just wanted to make that point. Thank you.
All right, on the budget, approve the E-rate consulting agreement by and between Educational Professional Services and Assumption Parish School Districts. Need a motion?
So move.
So moved by Mr. Bagg.
Second.
Second by Mr. Washington. All in favor?
Aye.
B, approve the Emergency Connectivity Fund consulting agreement by and between Educational Professional Services and Assumption Parish School District. Need a motion? Motion by Mr. Robinson, second by Ms. Dodd. All in favor?
Aye.
Right. Approve the selection of the external auditing firm.
So move.
I'm sorry.
Anya coming up.
Did not include in the agenda the actual firm, so just want to make it clear. You do have the bid tabulation sheet attached to your agenda, and we received 3 bids from the companies listed on the sheet, and the committee also interviewed each firm. The firm did come in and answer some questions and made a presentation to us. And actually, the lowest bidder was Diaz, Dupuy, and Ruiz, and that firm also scored the highest with the interview. So we are recommending that firm, Diaz, Dupuy, and Ruiz from Gonzales, Louisiana, to be our auditors.
I'll make that motion.
Great. All in favor?
Aye.
amend the contract with Thomasy Construction.
Excuse me, before we move on, I see a member of Mr. Shake Snyder who represents that firm. Mr. Shake Snyder, you had any comments?
Well, we thank you, for selecting us. We look forward to working with Ms. Rammond, Superintendent of Development. But ultimately, our responsibility is to you as a board. So if you have any concerns, any questions, anything, please call us at your convenience. We certainly will perform the audit and report fairly to you of any problems.
I might mention that, maybe newer members on the board, Mr. Shake Snyder has been an auditor of Assumption Parish Schools for many years with Postlethwaite, and now he has his own firm. So he is quite aware and has done a lot of audits in the area. And since Postlethwaite did not put in the bid, I think we have great representation coming from Mr. Shake Snyder's firm.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it. All right. Amend the contract with Thomasy Construction. Any questions, concerns?
So I'm gonna have Mr. Dwayne speak to this. We had to extend the contract that's working, this specific contract, because the work would not be done in a timely manner in which the original contract stated. So we had to extend the contract so the work can be done. Mr. Dwayne?
The extension, the contract was for the 2 Head Start classrooms that we adding into the Lappville and the Boyville area. I mean, it's just taking so long to get the doors in. We got to cut in open exit doors so they have an exit direct outside of the building. So those products are just taking too long to get in, so we couldn't make the original deadline. So we're extending the deadline to get the contractor enough time to get the materials he needs to complete the job,
So we just changed the timeline.
basically.
Yeah. Sounds good. Need a motion?
So moved.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Need a motion? By Mr. Washington?
Second?
Second by Mr. Beck. All in favor?
Aye.
Good. Motion passes. Authorize the superintendent to solicit requests for proposals for professional development by a Louisiana Pathway trainer for 12 hours of Louisiana daycare licensing requirements. Moved by Ms. Barris, second by Mr. Robinson. All in favor? Aye. Good, motion passes. Authorize the superintendent to solicit requests for proposals for certified trainer to provide pediatric first aid training, infant, child, adult CPR training. Any comments? No. So moved. Ms. Dodd? Second by Ms. Cooney? All in favor?
Aye.
Renew contract with Data to Information LLC. Oh, I'm sorry. Authorize the superintendent to solicit requests for proposals for professional development sessions to meet Louisiana daycare licensing requirements for universal precaution medicine training. Moved by Ms. Barris. Second by Mr. Robinson. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Renew contract with Data to Information LLC. Motion.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Cooney. Second by Mr. Washington. All in favor?
Aye.
Moving too fast? Okay. Authorize the superintendent to solicit requests for proposals for leadership marketing strategies.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Beck. Second by Ms. Mickens. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Approved student accident insurance renewal. Any motion? Does anybody want any discussion?
We just going back to the same company or?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Same company,
company,
same rate, everything stays the same.
All right.
Good.
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Dodd, second By Mr. Washington, all in favor?
Aye.
Good. Receive information on service agreement with Frontline Education for time clock-related services.
So we know you approved the contract previously with Frontline for some HR services with the hiring process. Frontline also offers some time clock and absence management platform. Right now, for our time clock and absence management, it's all manual work. It's Google documents that we've created. It's not integrated with our payroll software. It's all manual for our school secretaries, for our principals approving, and for our payroll staff. So when you hear the complaints of employees being docked, it's an oversight because it's all manual work. So with trying to improve efficiencies and hearing some concerns that our staff across the board have made, we did allocate some monies to upgrade our time and attendance processes. We included $50,000 in the budget that you all have approved. And since April, May, we've been looking at several companies and seeing what they have to offer. Everyone knows that I keep the purse strings tight and had to look at various options before making such an investment. So with this, Frontline came in to where it would cost about $28,000, which is about half of what's included in the budget, only for that first year. So implementation cost includes a lot of training for our staff and some devices to actually clock in and clock out. So the initial upfront cost is $28,000, but then you'll see where the yearly renewals will be $18,000. We have to do a 3-year contract. So it'll be $18,000, $19,000.
How long is the contract?
I'm sorry.
How long is the contract?
3-year
Three.
with an option if we're not happy.
Okay.
We can get out in a 60-day period. So if something happens in this first year and we're not satisfied, within a 60 days, as long as we notify them, we do not have to renew for another.
Have you checked with, what references do they have with other systems?
Yes, they do a lot of systems, I think over 50 districts in Louisiana. I have talked to some business managers who said that it does make their process a lot less manual work. It's user-friendly for employees where they can pull up their leave banks, pull up their vacations on their phones. They have an app. It's a lot more advanced than what we're currently offering. So we're hoping that this improve efficiencies in that area for this reasonable cost. There was another system that we were looking at that was about $46,000, $47,000. That's why we budgeted about $50,000. So we're very excited that this price, and I think we probably got a package deal because HR purchased it with something else. So I think this is extremely discounted because we're using it with something.
Do we, since it's below budget, do you put that back in the general fund, or you're gonna spend the rest of it?
Actually, there are some other people who had some things that they want done, and I actually told Josh, like, I have this that we need, and I was like, you know what, Josh, I came on the budget, so maybe we don't have to wait on that project, we can do this now. So there are some other things that, we were telling other people, no, we can't get it done, that can probably now be implemented now because this is on the budget.
Good then.
We work together.
Can you tell us how employees will clock in, how this will work?
Well, good question. Thanks for asking. Right now, as you all may or may not know, we're in a very busy season in our department. We're closing one fiscal year and getting ready to hire people and start another fiscal year. So where we explain to principals in principals meetings just this morning, where we are ready to roll this out because it will make it more efficient for everyone, we have to do staff training. So the staff training will happen in August and September, and then we're going to pilot some schools because, of course, we don't want to put this on and then there are issues. We only get paid once a month. We have to know how to integrate with payroll, but we'll pilot maybe 3 schools, and then we're hoping to go live with everyone in the district, including substitutes, in January. It will be a biometric scan where they have to use thumbprint. It will be a fingerprint scan, biometric, and the leave and all will be all reported. They can request vacation, request sick leave, all through this one portal. However, everyone will not have it. So you may hear the complaints about certain schools are doing it, or even with subs. you know, I worked at this school and I have to use the old way, but I work at another school and I'm using the newer system. We are gonna pilot it just to work out some kinks, work out some issues for maybe 2 or 3 schools. And then hopefully in January, we'll be able to bring everyone on board. We're also hoping to do like, we use stipend forms and timesheets for when people are, our current employees are paid overtime or have to attend a professional development. We're hoping to go paperless with that, and this system should be able to accommodate all of that. I'm sorry?
How you gonna pick your 3 schools? Smaller schools or just pick them?
Well, we want our secretaries to feel confident, so it'll be a collaboration once we have our secretary training, and we, you know, don't want to just put something on someone's plate, but we definitely want experienced secretaries with an experienced principal, and then we want them to feel comfortable. So it'll be, we're not just picking, we'll ask for volunteers. If we don't get volunteers, then we know which secretaries are efficient, and we'll pick them.
Thank you, Ms. Allen.
Thank you.
All right. Authorize the superintendent to solicit requests for proposals for a new walk-in freezer for Libertyville Primary School cafeteria. Ms. Misty?
Libertyville Primary Cafeteria is in desperate need of a new freezer, and the way the policy states is anything that's going to be over $20,000, I would need y'all approval to go into contract with them. So we're looking to get quotes. It will be over 20, but we have money in the budget for that. So we're just needing, they need a bigger freezer.
Do you have an indication of how much over 20?
From a few estimates that we kind of talked about, probably between 20 and 30.
Okay.
We were hoping to be around 20, but it's looking like,
Do
like
you have,
everything with prices.
are there other vendors that, freezers that, you have more than one vendor?
Oh yeah, we're gonna get 3 quotes at
Okay.
least.
Good deal.
They're in need, and we actually have the space. We're not doing like a construction to the building. We're just adding it to an old dish machine room that we have the space to do it in. And so they'll have a nicer, bigger freezer that they desperately need.
Good deal.
Thank you, Ms. Misty. Motion by Ms. Barrett, second by Ms. Mickens. All in favor? Aye. Great. Approved contract with Air Filter Service, HOMA, for HVAC filter service.
Before you speak, Mr. Dwayne, I also, want to make sure the board understands that we are no longer working with Siemens, but as far as the money that we're saving, as a result, even by having this contract, approved, it's still less than what we would pay Siemens to do the same work. So, Mr. Dwayne?
Right, so we had the contract with Siemens, it was a performance contract, it was a 15-year contract and it's ended. So instead of re-entering into a contract with them, we just decided, Mr. Bartholomew and myself, we decided that we're gonna go ahead and get our own filter service and kind of do our own energy management in-house. So it was costing us roughly $97,000 a year with the contract, with the energy management person we had on staff, you know, just looking over the system. So we decided to go with our own filter company. I do most of the energy management now. We've created a spreadsheet. I watch all the dollars and cents that come in, and I kind of monitor things that way. So we have a big cost savings. With that being said, we did a request for proposal. We got 3 out of 5 proposals back. The cost is $24,603 a year. It's going to be 4 times a year. They're going to service it, 3 times a year every 4 months. They're going to come in and change all the air conditioning filters. So it's a cost savings of about $72,000 a year doing it this way.
That's very.
So that money can go into putting in new systems, which will help with the energy savings as well.
Very good.
Fantastic.
Do we have plans for what we're saving?
What's that?
Do we have plans for all that money we're saving?
I do, absolutely. I can spend every dollar.
I'm
But like I said, Mr. Beck, the money that we save that way, instead of giving it to this company just to monetize stuff, we'll buy more energy efficient systems, and that way, that will be our energy management plan.
Well, this is the kind of thing I think the board likes to hear, that we managing and looking at every aspect of our operations, and we increase in efficiency, and that costs a little bit, but we also saving money on in another area, That's what makes our system
Well, and
work.
that's why we also asking for Miss Misty's freezer, because we were spending $30,000 a year with a contractor to clean and service our equipment. And I told Misty when I took over the department, let's just cut that out and spend $30,000 on new equipment.
Yeah,
So it's just, I just think that's the
Well,
best route to go to move forward.
good management.
No brainer. Thank you, Dwayne. Thank you. Great. I need a motion.
So move. Second.
Moved by Ms. Dodd, second by Mr. Beck. All in favor?
Aye.
Good.
Also, I have Mr. Dwayne. I just wanted to give the board a quick update on summer projects.
Okay, so this summer, we've been working on putting bottle filling stations in all the schools. So when the kids come back, we don't have to worry about giving them water, the kids not having water, and parents complaining. So what we did to start off is we went into every building, and each building has one refrigerated water station, which was a total of 45 stations we just completed yesterday. So that was phase one. We're gonna go back in when we get more time because we need to move on into other projects. When we come back, we'll probably do another 20-something depending, but we do it by the amount of kids in school. So it's gonna be easier for them to get to the water. The reason we did one in every building is so kids are not roaming the campus saying they're looking for water, they won't fill their bottle. So the teachers can, keep them in that area, fill their bottles and bring them back to their rooms. We did our normal routine maintenance we do every summer. Ceiling tiles, floor tiles, light bulbs, exit signs, any hazardous areas, we corrected those. We upgraded the lights as we go around. Instead of repairing these old lights, if they're old, what we do now, if the ballast is even bad, what we do now is we take them out, we direct wire them for LED lighting. So we upgraded the lighting as we go along too. Instead of just continuing to replace bulbs, LED bulbs have a 10-year life. So it just, in time, we won't have to do as much as that stuff and we can focus on other things. So we have a Grandmaster key system we started installing in the schools years ago. We're about 75% complete on that. Most of our exterior doors, I can enter with all schools with one key. I can give Mr. Bartholomew one key and he can get into any building that he wants to get into. That key opens every school, every classroom. There's a key behind that. Each school has a master key system. So each school has the individual master key for the principals and the custodians. Each teacher has a key to enter the building and enter the classroom. So you don't have all these keys floating around and everybody's got a key ring this big. Remember the janitors with the two big key rings, right? But we're trying to get away from all that. So we about 75% with that. So we service the middle school cafeterias. We're moving into the high school and primary schools. The reason we did middle schools first is because of summer school at the high school and primary schools. So our primary schools are complete and now we're moving on to the middle school and high school. We started putting in another part of the energy management thing. It's putting in push button faucets. So when you push the faucet in, it runs for 20 seconds. Kids are not clogging sinks, turning on faucets, leaving the room, just letting water run and wasting water. So we have hand sanitizer stations in every room, in every primary school, and every middle school right now. The high school, we're not doing it this time because we have so much stock of bottle sanitizer from when the pandemic first started that we want to use that in the high school first. We figure they're bigger kids, they can use those things, the foam and sanitizer safer for the smaller children. We did do some HVAC systems. I know there was a question about the high school. The rooftop unit on the cafeteria. One of the employees was upset about that. That unit is now done. Rain gave us a chance to get it done. That unit is done. We changed a few units in a few schools. We change them as we go. We had came to y'all a few years ago, and that's the way y'all wanted to proceed. So as we find them, we change them. If they're not worth fixing, we move. Painting projects. We painted the front hall of Laverdale Middle School. That whole entire front hall was painted. All the doors. Laverdale Primary School, the main halls were painted. Laverdale Primary dining room is being painted. The Poyenville Middle School, I think Ms. Mooney, you had seen it one time, and it was in bad shape. The whole interior of that building is being done. So I wish we could have got to the exterior, but it's a much bigger project, and we'll get to it later. We painted 3 classrooms in Belrose Middle. Assumption High, we did some paint in the gym, in the front gym. Some classroom doors were painted at the M building at the high school. And the football locker room was completely repainted in the back. The coaches chose to do that. I just supplied all the materials for them to get that done. And this too, I wanted to say before I keep going. If I didn't mention your school or your area, it's not that they're being neglected. So when I first started, we did Pierreport, we did a lot of work in Melrose. The following year, we was in Napoleonville. Now we're doing Laverdale area. I don't have the budget to do every school every year. So instead of piecemealing little projects at each school, I'd rather accomplish bigger things where you can see something was done, but it's just gonna be a continuous circulation of funds in different areas, you know, as needed. We did some groundwork, Laverdale Middle. I don't know if y'all familiar with the area. On the south side of the property, there's a lot of trees there that were hanging on the building. We just put a new roof on the building. We cleared that whole fence line and all that area that had problem rodents. So we cleared all that fence line. We cut some trees at Laverdale Primary. They were affecting the roof on the building. Since we fixed to put a new roof on the building, we didn't want it to happen again. We cut 4 trees down. We trimmed those trees in the courtyard area. We cleared the levee behind Head Start. I don't know if y'all noticed that when y'all came in. All that levee is now cleared. The grass cutter can cut it. The trees are not up against the back of the building, leaning on the roof. We did drainage projects at Pierreport Primary, Pierreport Middle, Napoleonville Primary, and we have one at the high school. And that's about it. We're fixing to pump grease traps at all the kitchens. We do that every 6 months to prevent having problems during the year. So we have some other kitchen projects going on, but we normally get to those right before school starts.
A very busy, lengthy report, and it takes a good support staff to do it. How many people on your staff?
I have 2. I have 2 general maintenance men and 1 air conditioning tech.
And y'all are working on all of that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, well, it's quite a task.
We did have some volunteers paint in Laverdale. They did do that. We do have 2 painters we hired for the summer that help with the painting. So my guys didn't do 100% of this list, but they do a lot of work in the schools. And I mean, some things go undone. We mostly seen for what we didn't do instead of what we did do, which is okay. But I mean, they really do work hard, and it's a lot to do to keep
Sure.
up.
Let me ask you, I did receive a phone call, I'm not sure what school they were referring to, but it was concerning, and obviously listening to your report, you have a full plate and some spilling over, which, you know, I can appreciate the efforts that are going on to freshen up the buildings and fix what's broken, and with limited resources and staff. The call I had was concerning pressure washing some of the schools that need it. Is there anything about that going on?
Dwayne, before you answer, just want to let the board know, and we met with the principals today. So the principals, we had a great conversation about pressure washing their buildings and cleaning the outside of their facilities. So Mr. Dwayne, we talked, I want to say maybe yesterday. So he is definitely going to meet with the principals. The principals are aware that he's going to call, and we're going to set up the pressure washing and the cleaning of those buildings ASAP.
Very
Mr.
good.
Dwayne?
The reason we're not pressure washing now with the weather we had and everything else, plus, like I said, what we did with the custodians this summer is we moved them into the middle schools first, like I spoke about earlier, so we can get those clean, and then we're teaming them back up in the middle schools to get those to clean. With COVID, they had a lot more on their plate to address this year with fogging and disinfecting and everything else. So some of the interiors of the building didn't get clean, like floors maybe wasn't just a major thing for them to worry about, concern themselves with when they were disinfecting and cleaning as much because of the pandemic. So they're focusing on getting all those rooms back in order now. I had a conversation with a few schools already, even before Mr. Bartholomew called me, to try to start pressure washing and cleaning, and then we will put that on the rotation as well. So we don't get to all of them, they will be scheduled in some sort of rotation to get them done.
So the goal, if I'm hearing correctly, the goal is, I would think you would prioritize which schools need it the most, and hopefully get as much done before school starts. But are you going to have throughout the year, when you can, get you know, finish up what you can, what you can't finish?
So what I speak to the principals about a lot of times is long-term goals and having those things for the days that we work during the break, say Thanksgiving, work 2 days, Christmas, Easter, anytime we work and the kids are out, I would prefer custodians, and I know they're always catching up, or we stay behind. But those are the times where you can get outside and you can get more things done.
Right.
Unfortunately, most of our custodians choose those days to take off, so they're not off when the kids are in school. So, I mean, it's really just a juggling act of how we're gonna get it done, but we will do our best to get it accomplished.
Okay.
Do you ever get a pricing on somebody coming in and doing the, flesh wash?
So we had the stadium itself cleaned. And, yeah,
I think
it's
we
a good
just-
bit of money for professional services. But you gotta realize, when you get professional services, they have all the liabilities, all this shit. So we require them to carry $1 million policies, well, that costs money. They got workman's comp, that costs money. They got vehicles and fuel and labor and everything else and all that overhead, and then, you know, so it's a lot of money. So my thought process was, if not for this year, if I can recruit, right now we recruit teachers and they paint for us. So we have 2 teachers this year that came in and do some painting. My thought process was to speak with Mr. Bartholomew about maybe next year having a paint crew and a pressure washing crew. So that way we can have those people go around and kind of do more pressure washing as well.
Just to give the board an idea, how much the company wanted to charge us, I want to say it's almost $10,000 to pressure wash the stadium for graduation. We was going to get the football stadium pressure wash. I think it was almost $10,000.
Yeah, it was right at $10,000 to wash the whole stadium. So what I did was the first phase of it, the trustees had washed the inside of the stadium, all the bleachers. So what I did is I paid a company to come in and wash the backside. I don't remember the exact dollar amount. Ms. Anya might remember, I'm not sure, it was around $5,000. They washed all underneath and all the concrete at the bottom. So, I mean, that was just to wash the stadium. So to wash, take the high school, for instance. I mean, it would just be,
I would think that while, again, we prioritize what needs it the most, and I would think that the schools, the buildings that host our students should be before we do the stadium, which, how many times
I did the
a year we
stadium,
use it?
the reason we did the stadium was because of graduation.
Yeah,
and
for
just- and it
graduation.
hasn't been cleaned.
Yeah.
I don't think it's ever been cleaned since I've been here.
Yeah,
I mean,
well,
it's been 6
obviously,
years.
it needs to be done, but I would hope we'll take care of some of the schools, you know, and do that. But I think I heard you say we saved about $70,000 on one project, huh?
That's HVAC money, but
I know we wouldn't want to use it on a building, but I know a fire hose was something on the parking lot.
Yeah,
So just to, you know, I guess we will pressure wash. So we definitely, Mr. Dwayne is working
It's
on
in the
that.
plan.
So we definitely will make sure that the schools are clean
Very
on
good.
outside as well as on the inside.
and Dwayne,
Try getting inmates to clean, to pressure wash.
well, after I got the call from Mr. Bartholomew, that was a thought as well. So that would be something that we have to do sooner than later because you can't have inmates on campus with the children. So that was something that I was gonna discuss with him as well. We just had a brief conversation about this, so we don't have a whole lot of detail for you at this time. But we will have further discussions to get it
I
done.
don't know
Could
if
you-
some of our buildings can wait a year, because a lot of them are really built
Right.
on our side. And that's a reflection of us.
and, you know, the
But-
kids, parents, the community said we need to instill pride, and yet they go to, you know, a school that doesn't reflect that, and that's important. The stadium, certainly for graduation, we have guests come for football games, but, you know, I think the
I mean, if we
collectors,
can come up with the money, I'll have all of them washed in the next 2 weeks.
well,
I'm on board.
as I said, we need to prioritize, but get it done as we can in a timely manner. So, but look, I really appreciate what you are doing, trying to do and planning ahead and looking backwards as to how we can move forward and save money. So that's good, and I appreciate what you're trying to do.
Yeah, just like one. Did I understand that you had parents that volunteered to help?
We had some volunteers at Lafayette Middle School. Yes.
So, we can bring in parents Because I remember we wanted parents to do something in care for it, and they said because of the insurance liability.
All they have to do is fill out a whole harmless form and submit it back to my office and Mr. Bartholomew, and then they can go on campus and they can do work. There's certain things we don't allow them to do. I won't have, well, that's what I was getting at. So there's things we won't allow them to do that would be a major liability on us, but washing and painting and those types of things, that's fine, but I won't have a parent come in and tell me they can rewire the high school. So, no, I know what you mean, but I just wanted to clear that up as well. Yes.
Pressure washing,
Right.
stuff like that.
Yes, ma'am.
I know at one time they said that it wasn't allowed, so I'm glad to know now.
Right, well, that was also in the conversation me and Mr. Bartholomew had yesterday, was speaking to the principals, see if we can get people in their area, in their community, to volunteer and come help and get those things accomplished.
There's 9 of us, how many of y'all have pressure washing?
I have pressure washers, and Mr. President will get a bus for you all, and we can start tomorrow.
Gotta be over Saturday. Get back to school, I think maybe we can open up our PTO again, parents involved again. Because I mean, at one time, that was so vibrant in our
Right.
valley. I don't think we have one active PTO in the whole package.
I think Napoleonville, Rhinebeck. Yes.
Well, I know ours was real active, and I don't think we have anything. Yeah,
Thank you.
just a thought, you know, that
No, this is good information, and we're definitely going to make sure we exhaust all options, because we definitely want to get it done. So, thank you, Mr. Dwayne, I appreciate
Be
you.
looking for the 90 at 6 o'clock.
Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you. All right, let's receive the COVID update report.
We do have one positive COVID case within the district, 0 quarantines as a result. And I'll just add that we did sit in on a school startup webinar presented by the CDC, and a lot of what were mandates in the past, they are giving districts the opportunity to, I guess, choose how they want, how we want to implement these guidelines. So at our core meeting on Monday, we will go through the document again and give schools more guidance on the procedures that we have that we will have in place for school startup. And, so that's kind of where we headed now.
So we're, as of right now, we're starting back with no mask.
Well, again, that will be, I guess, determined as a district, but sounds like we will be maskless.
Yes. As of right now, yes.
Big turnout for the kids to get COVID vaccines.
I don't know the exact numbers, but we did send some information again today in a call out with a phone number for parents to, if they want their 12-year-old and older to have a vaccine, they can do that. And we did put some information, we shared that if they do, the kids they won't have to be quarantined if they have a positive exposure when school starts. So we're not mandating it, of course, and we made sure to add that, but we do want to remind them that they still have the option.
All right, thank you, Mr. Buggage. All right, anything else? Anybody got anything? Need a motion to adjourn? Moved by Ms. Barris, second by Ms. Dodd. All in favor? Aye.